But yeah, man, I feel like in in the last few years that we've kind of known each other, I really took a deep dive into this finance stuff, and it's kind of overwhelming, but it's really so rewarding at the same time.
Yeah.
Um,
So you just started then in the past few years, or what was your kind of your background? How'd you get interested in this field?
yeah, I mean, long story, I guess long because it's probably gonna take, it's gonna be long.
Okay.
Growing up, growing up, I think that my parents, specifically my dad, were like a pretty big influence on my life with what I was doing, where I wanted to go. Um, my parents were immigrants, so I'm first generation born, and they've always had really strong work ethic. My dad,
Gotcha.
he's a contractor. He does construction, landscaping, stuff like that. And my mom used to work waiting tables. But being the firstborn, he's kind of always on my butt about certain things and like where I should be taking my life, going to
Mm-hmm.
school, stuff like that, just because they didn't have those opportunities. And I mean, ever since I was little, man, uh, they would dress me up in a suit and tie. They'd take me to the bank with them. Like all I listened to was like business, business, business,
Mm.
business. Um, so like naturally, I kind of felt that that's where I was gravitating.
Yeah.
And then like after high school, I didn't go to a 4 year straight away. I didn't really know how to apply. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
school I went to didn't really necessarily help me get there. I went to junior college, and so I was there for like 3 years, learning what the hell I wanted
Gotcha.
to do. And then I knew I needed to transfer, and so when I transferred, I knew I wanted to go to SDSU. And the transfer program there was pretty interesting. It was confusing. The degree I had through my associate's degree only put me into one of two majors, basically. One was business, general business, which can be probably anything. The other was financial
Yeah.
services, which is the major that I graduated with, and I had no idea what it was. I had no clue. So I was just kind of walking into it blind. Um, but basically, the coursework at SDSU in that major, all it is CFP preparation. So CFP, Certified Financial Planner, is what it stands for. So it was coursework in insurance planning, tax planning, investment planning, retirement planning, and then your capstone was basically a combination of all of it and creating financial plans. Um, so that's kind of where I started gravitating towards. It just kind of came
Mm-hmm.
naturally. I wouldn't say it was maybe my first choice. I always wanted to be like a National Geographic photographer or something, taking pictures of
Interesting.
like wildlife or nature. But I, my life went that a totally different way, and I'm totally fine with it. Um,
Gotcha. Do you
yeah.
feel like you do you feel like you made the right choice? Like obviously, like well, for example, it's not the same, but growing up, I played baseball
Yeah.
and I did it for like 10 years. And by the time I got to high school, I was kind of like starting to feel over it.
Hmm.
And I felt like it was because it was like my dad's thing. Like he kind of forced it on me.
Yeah.
Like maybe it wasn't my passion.
Hmm.
So I broke my wrist freshman year, and that was kind of like my way out to not play anymore.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
like looking back, I regret it. But just as far as my dad, kind of me feeling the pressure from my dad, did you feel that from your parents? And do you think maybe it was their course instead
Yeah.
of yours?
That's a good question. I mean, I know a lot of people feel that way, and I've never related to that. So a lot of the times people are
Mm,
saying, always do things for yourself, which I totally get. But
mm-hmm.
I think I just happen to like it. And then coming from my background, I feel like it was just useful. There were times in my life where, had I had some of the knowledge I have now, things would have been different for my family. And so I think me now and having that knowledge and being able to share that knowledge to other people just makes it all the worthwhile. Especially because, I mean, being a minority, I feel like there's a lot of people who don't have access to financial planning, for example, who otherwise would. They just don't think that they can. And so having
Mm-hmm.
someone who looks like they do in this profession probably makes it a little bit easier for them to want to
Oh
reach
yeah.
out, you know?